is ask your spouse to make a commitment with you, so you're both making this commitment, to always treat each other's heart with gentleness and loyalty when you're trying to share a concern, feeling, fear, desire, or expectation. This is super important. You have to be a safe place for each other to reveal your hearts. You have to be a safe place for each other to reveal your hearts. You have to be a safe place for each other to reveal your hearts, or you're just going to be roommates who fight occasionally and maybe share the food in the refrigerator. I mean, until you can become a safe place for each other to share your hearts, no, there's going to be no fulfilling kind of marriage for you, right?
Amen.
So you're going to have to make a commitment, a decision to always treat each other's heart with gentleness and loyalty. If your spouse has reacted in harmful ways in the past when you've tried to share your heart, gently tell him or her that. Your spouse may not realize that the words that they used, or the facial expressions that they used, or the sarcasm that they used, they have wounded you. So ask your spouse if, and this goes for both men and women, ask your spouse, are there things that I've done when you tried to open up and share something, a hope, a dream, a fear, a worry, whatever, and have I done something, said something, facial expressions that kind of shut you down or made you feel like you shouldn't share anymore? This is, again, a baby step in being honest, but I love Proverbs 24:26. It says, an honest answer is like a kiss on the lips. And honesty is huge. I mean, you're never going to progress further in your marriage than your honesty level with each other. So be honest and have that conversation with each other.
Ask your spouse if you have done things in the past that cause them to shut down on emotional intimacy. And you guys know when that takes place.
Mm-hmm.
You know when things all of a sudden, it's like something that you say and you kind of want to take it back sometimes. You go, oops, I didn't mean it. Yes, I did, but no, I'm sorry. I know what, you start thinking what the consequence is going to be as a result of what comes out of your lips, right? Ask them if you have said things or had facial expressions, like Debbie had said, that turned them off. But first, ask God to help you be a good listener.
Yes.
Without becoming defensive. Because we've done that before, right? Just, okay, go ahead, speak, and then,
I don't know what
I'm
you're
just waiting for
talking
her
about.
lips to stop so I can say what I want to say, right?
Because you're not really listening.
You're not really listening at all.
Yeah.
But at that point in time, and sometimes when it's necessary, you guys have been around, listened to us, we use pause. P-A-U-S-E. You just pause. Sometimes at that heated or at that moment in time, when it's there, you want to get your point across. And when you can't hear your spouse, that's when you probably need to say, let's take a time out. We need to talk about this, but I'm kind of heated right now, and you're kind of heated. Maybe it's not the right time. Let's take a moment, okay? Now, that might be a minute or two. It might be a half an hour. It might be a day before you get back together and talk about it. But we always ask, we do what the Bible reminds us to do, is about praying together, okay? Not going to bed with anger, okay? And taking care of that sort of thing. James 1:19 says this, know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger, okay? So we need to be quick to hear and slow to everything else, okay? And when we do that, things would they start to change. But you're the one that has to do that. You're the one, not just knowing it, it's not just knowing the word, it's putting it into action. How about work to understand and value your spouse's wiring as a man or woman? We aren't supposed to only be concerned with ourselves. God tells us in Philippians 2, each of you should look not only to his own interest, but also to the interests of others. So strive to really understand your spouse and their wiring so that you can be a blessing to them. It takes time, brother. It just takes time.
Women are a mystery too, so we'll just be honest. So it's going to take time to figure us out.
Amen.
Because as soon as you think you've got it down and you do something, then all of a sudden something comes out of left field and you go, okay, Or you don't say okay, you say something else and then it begins.
So we wanted to give you a few examples of the differences in the wiring between men and women. So I'm going to speak to the men what you need to know about a woman's wiring, and Raul will share with the women what you need to know about a man's wiring. So let me speak first to the men.
Well, make sure you got their attention. Okay, I think
Okay.
so.
You need to know that women have a huge need to feel cherished by you, which means treating her like she is extremely valuable, and that you, as her knight in shining armor, would slay dragons to protect her heart, right? Do whatever it takes, would be a fierce warrior to protect her, but yet you're tender and gentle with her because she's so extremely valuable to you.
Yep.
Did you get that?
Amen.
That she is so extremely valuable to you that you treat her like with tender, loving care. You slay dragons, whatever's necessary to protect her and provide for her, but you are tender and gentle with her. That's making her feel cherished. And this is basically a command that God gives to husbands in Ephesians 5:25. He says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. And then he goes on to say, husbands should love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes it and cherishes it. Your wife has this incredible need to be cherished by you.
You know, so often Debbie and I talk, she interviews authors who talk about different challenges in life, and they write a book about it, and she has the opportunity of being able to hear a lot of different looks at things. But one of the things that is so consistent across the board is that so often there have been things that have been, in speaking about the women, that things that have taken place in their lives that they haven't shared with anybody, that they've been carrying and carrying. And you may think that your wife has been, no challenges, no problems or anything like that, or you think that she's got all kinds of problems, but you're not going to say anything to her. But she's looking to you to protect her, to take care of her, to provide for her. If you've come together and the Lord is in the middle of your marriage, whether he was there at the time that you got married, but he is today, and you want him to be, brother, you're going to do everything you can to fight for her. And that may mean that you're going to have to die to self. That's right. You do not have to win, man.
But here's the cool thing. When you die to self, guys, I'm just kind of speaking to you, and you become this, her knight in shining armor, she is going to so madly be in love with you that you're going to, you're going to get what you need. You're going to have her respect. So it's kind of like this great, way that the puzzle all kind of fits together just as God intended. Okay, you have to give your thing to women now.
You need to know that men have a strong need to be respected by you and encouraged by you. This is probably why God gave wives a specific command in the book of Ephesians. The wife must respect her husband. Men, keep in mind you should behave in a manner that is respectable first. Okay?
So what does it look like for a wife to respect her husband? I mean, what does that mean to a man?
One of the
What does that
things
look
that, this is an area that, and I'm not going to, I almost thought that I'd have the guys raise their hand if you really think this is important. I know it's important in a man's life to be respected by their spouse, by their wife, okay? Because that carries so much more. When you actually know that your wife respects you with what you say. He needs to hear you tell him that I believe in you. Right? Keep in mind, men, you've got to do things that you deserve to hear that. Not just hearing it because that's the right thing for her to say. You need to do something that is respectable. Wives, you need to let him know. You need to encourage him. No matter what it is. If you see 9 bad things, but you see one good thing in him, it's easy to forget that one good thing. Find that one good thing and let him know about that. And let him know that no matter what, that's it. And thank the Lord in front of him. There's something about a guy knowing that, hey, that he's really needed and respected by his spouse. I tell you what, man, that goes a long way. Sometimes you don't need anything else except just knowing that you're respected and needed.